What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nichols and Dimez Show. I'm your host, Chris Nichols. Today, I have a special episode because I am announcing the launch of my new business, and I'm excited to share it with you and to see what all of you think. I recently made an announcement on Instagram in a quick little video describing what it is, but I wanted to take this episode to give you a little bit more detail around it and what I plan to do with it. But the name of this business is Legacy Kapsule, which is a podcast as a service for a loved one in your life. And this really comes from the motivation around what are we left with when a loved one in our family dies, and how do we remember that person? It's often where we just are left with some old pictures on our phone and some voicemails, or perhaps a photo album, depending what generation you're in. But this, in my journey of hosting the Nichols and Dimez Show over the past year and more, I've learned about the power of story and the impact of hearing someone's story and getting into it with them in a long-form conversation is tremendous. And so imagine if you can have a tailored version of that for somebody who you love, someone perhaps in your family who's getting older, but they're still with us, right? They're still able to really call back on what it was like for them growing up, or what their family was like, or what was it like becoming parents? What was their career like, right? What life event did they live through that was so interesting, right? Take our generation, for example. Our grandkids will be just astounded to learn that we lived through the year of 2020, for example, right? And we could share that story in the future and have that recorded in a way for generations to come. And not just so that they can hear the story, because stories, of course, have been passed down through generations since the beginning of time, but you get to actually feel it directly from them because it's a video recording of that person telling the story. So I think there's an incredible opportunity here, and it's a very fulfilling service to offer. I feel I've already done a couple of test rounds with it, and it's a adjustment from the types of conversations I've been having on the Nichols and Dimez Show, because typically the Nichols and Dimez Show consists of young entrepreneurs, which is a topic I'm passionate about, but that's also a pretty saturated topic when it comes to social media, online presence, and people who are trying to get into that world, right? I'm very aware of that. I'm just doing it because I really like it. And yes, I am constantly trying to look back on it and see how can I make my message more unique and more valid. And I like to believe that doing this business will give me more validity as I continue to do this podcast about entrepreneurship. And hopefully it'll teach me a lot more from my own direct experience to share with you guys. And, one thing that I can say is that after having over 50 entrepreneurs on my show in the past year, I've learned a ton from them. So I recently made a post about imposter syndrome and how I experienced that when I started a podcast about entrepreneurship without having been an entrepreneur, at least in my view. And I overcame that by making the episodes and conversations completely about the guest across from me. It turns out that after talking to all these people and surrounding myself by them, because I did all of these episodes in person, so I'm having a lot of conversation off camera, off the microphone as well, I learned a ton from these people where I've been able to bring these different insights together and share it back with the audience in a more digestible way. And typically, because of where I've been in this podcast journey, I've been able to gather a certain group of people that perhaps maybe it was their first time on a podcast. And these are people typically you're not going to hear from on maybe Ed Milet or Alex Hormozy's podcasts, right? There's a lot of entrepreneur influencer podcasts out there that will get all these big hitters on there when we're not hearing from people just like us who are running their own business. So I think that was really cool to bring those conversations in a public light. And I did learn a ton from every single person on there. Granted, every single person had a pretty different background. But anyway, back to Legacy Kapsule. I want to share a little bit about the structure and the process in which you can take action. It's a very simple idea, but I think it's very powerful. So I'm actually working on this with a partner who's been a great friend of mine and mentor to me for a long time. He's someone who's much more experienced in business than I am. He's started a number of different companies, and he does some incredible marketing consulting work for businesses. So I'm really lucky to have that support, really blessed. And now to just share with you what this process is that we came up with, and you'll be able to take action on this and see it on our website, which is legacy-capsule.com. Capsule is spelled with a K, so that's an important detail. But the process is going to be, you go onto our website and you fill out an interview intake form or a questionnaire. And this is so that we can gather details around what you're looking for, because this is going to be a custom service, a tailored podcast, meaning that I am, let's say I'm going to be the podcaster who's going to interview your loved one, your family member. The value here is that it's a third party. I think there can be some hesitation when you have two family members talking together sometimes in this type of recorded format. I'm sure some will do it just fine, but I think that is a part of the value, along with having someone who's very familiar with podcasting, how to navigate a conversation, how to hit certain topics, and how to transition from one topic to the other. So I do think this is all part of the value in what we're offering here. But also we want to offer something that's bite-sized. So something like a 1-hour video podcast, and it's not this massive documentary production like what our current competition mostly is. So you can go find some stuff out there and pay $10,000 to have some documentary made about a family member just to make a legacy memory out of their life, right? And it's over-focused on the production and all this stuff. And, we're still going to do that kind of work, but I want the emphasis of this business and the impact that we're having to be on what is included in this conversation. What type of stuff are we able to get out of this person in a really unique and interesting and fascinating way, so that your whole family and whoever else you want to see it can access this forever after paying just a flat fee for this service and experience. So back to the process. Basically, you go onto the website, you fill out a questionnaire, you give us some information about what you're looking for from this podcast. For example, I want you to focus on this or that life event that my grandfather or uncle lived through. Or I want you to talk about their career, their early career. How did they build their wealth in this way? What kind of challenges did they overcome at this point in life, right? Or I want to learn about the relationship with my mom, for example, or with their siblings, or I want to learn about when they had kids. What was it like becoming a parent? So we can tailor the conversation in these different ways so that you can capture the memories that you want. And of course, people are encouraged and welcome to do it multiple times if there's a lot of different topics that they want to cover. Because if I'm talking with somebody for just 1 hour and I want to get their whole life story, that's going to be pretty difficult to fit into a 1-hour podcast. So our intention here is also to allow you to pick certain focuses within a podcast that you really want to get out of it. And this is something that's pretty personal to me as well, because I recently lost my last grandparent, my grandmother in San Diego, and I was able to spend some great time with her after moving to San Diego before she died. And if I had done something like this with her, boy, that would have been an incredible memory, an incredible piece of content that I would share with my family in the future to come and everyone else. I think it would really be an amazing thing. And it's really sad that I didn't get to do something like that. I do have pictures, and I've got maybe a couple voicemails in there, but this is why I want to offer this solution for people who have the opportunity to get ahead of it and get this as a gift, right? This is a gift you can get to honor this person. Let's say it's your dad's 70th birthday. This would be a perfect thing to do. Say, hey, I want to get this for you, Dad, and this is to honor you. This is so that my kids, my grandkids, everyone else can hear your story and hear you talk and get to know who you are forever. Okay, so back to the process. You start off with the interview intake form. Tell us what you're looking for, right? And then you have a 30-minute call with the podcast. So this is like a prep call so that you can go through the details and make sure that I am on the same page as far as what we want to talk about with this person in the podcast. And then, of course, we'll coordinate the podcast and schedule and do all that kind of stuff. Okay. And then the next step will be to record and produce the podcast. Once that's done, now we have a product to deliver. And then you complete the full payment, which then you will have full access to this product, and you can access this video podcast anytime, anywhere, forever for your family to cherish. So it's a beautiful way to remember somebody, to capture their story. It's customized. It's all about them. You pay for it once and you have it forever. You can pass it down in the family to remember somebody. I'm super excited about this idea. Every bit of feedback I've gotten so far has been overwhelmingly positive. And I would love to hear any feedback, any ideas, any interest any of you have. I would love to do it for your family or to somebody that you love, and to record their memory and share it with you in a professionally produced format, and take the skills that I've learned from all my podcasting that I've done and apply it in a way that can be enjoyed by you and your family. So everybody, I really appreciate your support on this. I am excited to see where this goes. I'm giving it a shot. And check out the website, legacy-capsule.com, and fill out the quiz if you're interested. Fill out the questionnaire to see if this is something you'd be interested in doing. But I really appreciate everyone here. The Nichols and Dimez Show will continue to go on. This is my passion project, and I'm going to continue to grow this personal brand and the Nichols and Dimez thing. And I'm going to work on this business as my true entrepreneurial pursuit right now. So I'm excited to see what happens. Thank you, everybody, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for joining me for this episode of the Nichols and Dimez Show. Please hit the subscribe button on YouTube and follow my Instagram page at Nichols and Dimez. The podcast Instagram page is at Nichols and Dimez Show. And please like any of the videos you come across on either platform and leave a comment, leave feedback. It helps me to improve and innovate and to continue to scale and bring more interesting guests to the Nichols and Dimez Show. Thank you all for the support, and we'll see you next time.